Hello, and welcome to Horror Dork, where we take horror seriously. Anyways, so what do you get when you cross Back to the Future with Scream? You get the fact that I should have watched this 2 weeks ago and been ready for the last podcast, but I'm doing it now. My name's Golden, and joining me as always are the amazing hosts, Mr. Sir.
Hello.
There you go. And ever quick on the camera operations, the Anthony.
Hello.
I look like a woman with my boob falling out. I slept in a tank top. We're better now.
Got
It's
your
not
Janet
because you're-
Jackson
Yeah, it's not because your
Super
boob's
Bowl
falling out.
2004.
Yeah.
Yep, slip.
I'll be honest, Anthony was like, could you just have your boob out a little bit before
Call me-
everything to
Call
get
me
us
Justin Timberlake.
those ratings?
Bringing sexy back.
Bring a sexy back. Just boom, boom.
So this week we are talking Totally Killer, new Amazon Prime exclusive slasher science fiction time travel movie. Golden compared it to Back to the Future meets Scream.
I mean, in fairness, the movie compared itself to Back to the Future.
Yeah, I mean it invokes the name Back to the Future several times in the movie. So I mean that's no mistake. I thought the killer was more more like a Michael Myers kind of.
Yes, the,
Modeled.
strong, silent one with the ruggedly handsome mask face. I did like the fact that the mask didn't. The mask.
The mask
had its
was
ear
cool.
pierced,
I
right?
thought it was cool. What is
It had
it?
its ear pierced.
Yeah. It had
Yeah.
like a dangly bad 80s
Sword.
bad guy earring.
Well, it was the dangly sword, which was all the rage actually in the 80s. I'm pretty sure I even had one. It didn't last.
That
long.
makes
It got
sense.
ripped right out of my.
I could
Did it?
see it.
I'm not good at maintaining things that dangle from me.
You look like a Brian Bosworth and Stone Cold.
Even if it's part of your body.
Look up that
Even if
movie.
it's part of my body, that just stuff's just
'Cause you-
willy nilly there, and if it's
Your
there, it's still
your
there.
dingles.
It does, and I let it just do what it wants to do now. It's a free range beard now. It's feral.
Drinking my Timmy's. Gonna be getting some authentic Timmy's.
Golden, going
in a week.
into this movie. Oh, because you're going to Canada.
Yeah.
Golden.
And
Mr.
that's
Popular.
It's the professionalism that we have that's what makes it come out.
Going into this movie.
Good. If you want to answer it, go ahead and answer it, man. I mean, what is
It's just a text message, bro. Like text messages can have ringtones too.
Yeah.
It's
Nothing
been
on-
around for like 10 years, maybe
nothing on
longer.
my phone has ringtones.
Yeah, I
If
know.
It makes a sound. I'll
You're
fucking
lucky
throw it
you can
across the
turn your phone on, yeah.
I am. I'm like, what?
The jitterbug.
My jitterbug. I'm like, hold on. It's only got 4 numbers on it.
What did you know about this
How do I
movie?
Google big boobs on this?
What did you know about this movie going in?
Uh,
And what were your expectations?
I mean, I knew what Mr. Sir had said, and I don't think I heard anybody else talk about it other than when we talked about it on the show. But usually, that's a good like. I'll usually go off of Mr. Sir's recommendations because he doesn't just say like, "Oh, this is a good movie." Sometimes he'll be like, "Hey, I liked it, but you're gonna hate it."
Yeah. I'm honest
He
about
just
it.
doesn't tell me there's like eye trauma in it, but that's because that's his
Well,
own personal joy.
hey, like the movie automatically gets I'm gonna recommend this to Golden
There's eye
if
trauma.
there's significant eye trauma in it.
Like, Golden, you should watch this movie. It's called Eye Trauma. Get fucked. I'm like,
Dude,
is it okay? Like, will I be okay with it? He's like, oh yeah.
And I'm not even kidding. Like a good like 3/4 of the horror movie, like recent horror movies I've watched, have some sort of like eye fuckery in it. Like legitimately, like I'm not even exaggerating. I'm just like I don't even need to clock the movie anymore. I'm just like, well, if I like the movie, I'll recommend it. I don't even need to say anything because it just goes without saying that there's probably going to be like some sort of somebody getting their eye stabbed or sucked out with vacuums, like in Saw X.
And honestly, like a lot of like time travel movies are hard because like you always kind of look for those like weird paradoxes, the things that would destroy the fabric of time. But I thought they right away they did a good job at trying to cover that by with their whole time is like a river flowing.
Yeah.
Like they did that, and I felt like
I
this
thought
is
that
their
was
way of
kinda-
saying, "Hey, if we fuck up, that's covered. This is our catch-all.
I thought they
People
handled the
understand.
time travel stuff very smartly.
They did.
Um,
They did a.
For a movie where, like, I think first and foremost it wants to be a slasher movie and like a horror comedy. It is very like heavy on the comedy. It's funny. The movie is though pretty funny.
And
I
I
like that. I thought the humor. Sometimes the humor in horror comedies can suck, but I thought this one was done really well. I thought it was very funny.
I think too. It's like what you had said when you're talking about it. They don't lean too heavy into the look how different the '80s were in it. And most of the ones that they do that with, it's not the like the fashion. Like that's always everybody's like number one go to when they're
Right.
talking about the '80s is look how crazy the fashion was. And they did like one
I've
that maybe did that, and all the
Yeah.
rest were like
I don't know. I feel like there was a few parts that it did that, like with the gym shorts, the lady wearing the tracksuit.
There was a little bit of
that's
that,
way
but
less than most
although
movies would have done.
that the one that you're referring to, the lady with the tracksuit, that one had a funnier reference to how different the 80s were to now, is when she gives her a ride and she gets out of the car and it's just a cloud of cigarette
Clam bacon,
smoke.
yeah, that's how
And
I
it's
grew up.
coming out of it.
I still remember as a kid in the '80s and being in the car with my parents,
A kid in the 80s.
and my parents got mad at me. Dick. My parents got mad at me because it was winter and I rolled down the window because like it was just nothing but cigarette smoke in there, and I rolled
Right.
down the window. They're like, "What are you doing? It's cold. I'm not paying to heat the outside." And I'm like, "It's okay, okay. I just don't need to breathe."
You're getting all the good. You're getting all the good Nick smoke out.
Right? It was horrible. But yeah, and I think a lot
I
of
paid for these cigarettes. I'm gonna get all my money's worth out of it.
the references to like how unsecure schools were back then.
Oh yeah, that was very funny.
Yeah, like I mean, the only the only thing that kept kids from sneaking out of school was the ass beating they were worried about getting when if their parents found out, because you could just
Right,
walk out
right.
the front door and nobody would even question it. And like people would bring I still remember that if like one of the schools around us was closed but we weren't, people would bring their friends to school with them and have them go around to their classes. You didn't even have to get like a pass for that. You just bring your friend. And they're like, okay.
Yeah, I did senior skip day, and I went to go see one of the, I think it was Matrix Reloaded. I think that was the one that was out, and I drove and picked up my girlfriend who went to a different school. She was not a senior and did not. I just grabbed her out of school. She walked out, and yeah, we went to go see a Matrix movie.
Our senior skip day was super lame because it was like sanctioned.
Oh,
the
that's
school planned it. They're like,
boo.
oh, there'll be everybody for senior skip day. There will be a bus outside to take you to Darien Lake. It's like, okay, I was like,
Lame.
this isn't as fun.
That's not a skip day.
But also the only time I skipped because I was also scared shitless of getting busted for. Plus, where I lived, like I didn't live anywhere near the school.
Okay.
Like it would have been a 3-hour walk to go home.
Ugh.
So, so basically, I would need to coordinate with my friends to have them skip as well, just so I had somewhere to
Gotcha.
go.
I lived across
They were
the
all
street
staying with
from
their
the
parents.
school, so I when I took photography, I just like walked across. I went home. Anyways, let's get back to the movie. Anthony, do you want to give us a quick synopsis of the plot, real quick? I don't think we really got into the meat and potatoes of the movie.
No, I don't. No.
He's like, it's not what I'm here
So just
for.
super quick.
Yeah, he is. He's the know-it-all guy.
The know-it-all guy.
Yeah,
I'm just the guy that finds all the mistakes.
You're the know-it-all guy. Golden's the funny one, and I'm the dumb chick.
You're the wild card, the guy that brings in the fringe. Stuff from the fringe. He's like,
I'm the muscle.
I once saw a comic that was written by a man who was
Golden?
snorting Satan.
Golden is our resident scientist. From all them years of brewing corn distillery and bourbon and
When I gotta get serious.
whatever else he boiled up on the farm.
I like those.
That's my
I really like
hillbilly Golden impression.
First of all, it's always moonshine. It's always the shine.
See? Can't sing nothing by him. So movie takes place present day, or at least present day when it was filmed. And just super long story short, there was a killer that went on a killing spree. 3 counts of killing spree, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Killed 3 girls back in the 80s.
I mean, he did enough of it to get a.
The main
Sweet name.
characters, I'm talking now, okay?
Whoa.
So you need to respect that.
He's gonna stab me.
What'd you say,
16
though?
times.
I
Said
did.
it was enough that he got a sweet nickname. So
Yeah. What was it?
the Sweet 16 killer.
Oh, Sweet 16 Killer. Right.
He always stabbed them 16 times, which takes a lot of dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
What happens if you do that and then they're not?
They don't
quite
die.
dead? Yeah,
And
and you're
I
like,
wondered
"Fuck,
this. I wondered the same thing
What's
too.
more important, my name, or that this bitch is dead?
Yeah, maybe he just finished them off by strangling them. I don't know.
That see,
Because it
modern problems call for modern solutions.
they do.
Good job.
Absolutely.
It's a very not modern way to kill somebody.
It's all the rage in Paris.
So we get a little bit of exposition from the mom in the very beginning, talking to the daughter, who's the main character, and the mom had survived the slayings. It's tough. This is what the movie wants you to think, okay? Because there's going to be spoilers and stuff that come up as the movie goes on that makes you wonder afterwards, and we'll get into it once we head into some spoiler territory. How involved the mom really was back then.
Right.
But she makes it sound like it was this whole ordeal where she was the final girl in this situation where she survived this mass killer. It has left a huge stain on the town, much like the Halloween sequels. The slayings are celebrated. There's a whole podcast devoted
Tour.
to her podcast, but it's by the same guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but people are dressing like the killer from 35 years before, in a super tasteful manner. And then as it goes on, you realize there's a science fair that kind of comes out of left field, and the main character's best friend is building a time machine
Can we
Based
talk
on her mom's schematics.
based on her mom's schematics.
Can we
She
talk
found
for a
her mom's
second
journal.
about where the science fair took place? The old abandoned amusement park.
The old abandoned amusement park in a old abandoned photo booth.
Well, because as soon as I saw that, I was like, well, I'm going to be seeing this a brand new. This is going
Oh,
to be
of course.
like a different set in about 20 minutes.
I just think it's funny that they're like, let's just have a science fair out in this old abandoned amusement park.
I know. It
And
was
leave all the science fair projects just out there alone overnight because nobody would mess with those.
so that's one thing that I like about this movie is like it's very tongue in cheek. They did that in a very funny like
Oh yeah.
we're getting this out of the way right now. I know I know you came to see Back to the Future slasher movie.
I don't see like I didn't know
So they're
this was
like-
a time travel movie when I went into it.
Oh yeah.
No, it looked like a slasher. I watched it cold. It was on Prime. Never didn't watch any trailers for it.
He just really liked the mask. He was like,
And then all of a sudden there was
wanna wear that
there was a
mask.
time machine in it, and I was like, okay. And they're not going to explain it. Okay, that's cool. It's comedy. It works. It's not taking themselves too serious. So the time machine is a photo booth. So later that night, the mom's killed, and
she puts up a good fight though.
she does
With the whole, I've been waiting for this moment for 20 or whatever years.
35 years, whatever.
Yeah, she
Like,
does a
you
real
think I wasn't ready.
Laurie Strode and the 20 and David Gordon Green's Halloween.
Which is funny though too because
The house isn't booby trapped or nothing,
like up
but
until
she
that,
has weapons stashed.
oh yeah, up until that moment, her character is very. Every year she dresses like Molly Ringwald for Halloween. She's very white, like wholesome Donna Reed type mom.
Right.
And then out of nowhere, she has fucking guns stashed everywhere in the house. So like that, it takes a real quick turn. But I mean, I liked it. I like how you don't really see that coming. So hopefully nobody's watching this without having seen it because now you saw it coming because I told you about it.
Oh,
You're welcome.
this is in the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
We haven't got to the twist yet.
With the twist.
And then, the daughter's upset because the mom is killed, and she's essentially just to make this quick. She's chased by the killer into the amusement park. She ends up in the photo booth. Big surprise. The killer misses and stabs the council, and all of a sudden the photo booth activates and it transfers her back to 1985 or 82 or
87.
whatever, 87, whenever the year
And
was.
it was set to that to before those killings happened because the friend who built it was like,
She was going to
was
stop
like-
the slayings.
She's like, oh, why is that already there? She's like, well, because if we can go back in time, wouldn't you want to stop these? He said, That's just not like it. There we go. She's like, wouldn't you want to stop those? So it's like, oh, okay. So they set it up already, like with the preset time.
That's your synopsis.
So from there, she tries to.
Well, no, I mean we can just talk about the movie.
Okay.
Because that's the setup.
I mean,
And from here, we're just going to go into spoiler territory.
I'd say like the most cliche. This is where the movie hits the most cliche thing, is when she
Okay.
gets to school. The thing that any time travel movie where they go back and meet their parents, it's always their parents are like the exact opposite of what they believed. Like, because she always believed her mom was like that super sweet Donna Reed person,
Right.
and she finds out that her mom's the leader of the fucking Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Like,
She's
everybody should see that coming.
She's Regina George. Yeah, for real.
With
Yeah,
a
I mean,
little
this
bitch
mo-
slip, too, which I love the attention to that detail.
While this movie does have a lot of clever like plays on like the time travel stuff and even like slasher tropes, and they make some references to Scream, which ends up playing out later on in the movie.
Yeah.
There is some cliches where it is like a little boring, and that is one of them.
And
I mean,
kudos to
you
them.
get a characterized version of the 80s and you get a characterized version of high school today, none of which is realistic.
What's the best way to show in high school who the biggest bitches and assholes were? Dodgeball. Well, every movie that has a dodgeball scene, the gym teacher clearly has the team set up outmatched.
I thought you
Because
were
they
going
always
to
put
say
the biggest assholes on one
Oh,
team
yeah.
and all the nerds on the other, and they're like, this should be good. Throw some balls at their faces.
Well,
I thought
that
you were
was
gonna say
something
cut
that I
to a
thought was
standing
funny.
3-shot.
And that was another.
shot,
That was like
whatever
one
it
of those 2023 is so much different than 1987, where she pretends like she doesn't, or she doesn't pretend. We're supposed to believe that this kid doesn't know what dodgeball is.
Right.
They still have dodgeball, right?
Oh.
But like she,
Not here.
not really.
Yeah, not in Buffalo.
Man, that's weird.
That was a bad time sometimes. I will say to this
It was
to
always
the
fun.
movie, kudos on them for not wasting a ton of time with the whole try to convince someone you're a time traveler. Like, people accepted it pretty quickly.
Well, yeah. Well, she
She's
talks to the lady. Well, she does a real Doc Brown again. And she talks to her friend's mom, who was in the middle of making the time machine schematics and everything. So she will. She just like shows her the smartphone, and she's like, "Okay, I believe you now."
And like the fact that the fact that them saying like we're basically going to make a Back to the Future, then saying let's make sure that this takes place once Back to the Future has come out.
Yes, that
You have
was
that
smart.
easy
We-
thing
And
we-
going.
she was like a huge nerd too,
So clearly it's
obviously.
in
So
Back to
she
the
saw, and she like had like tapes of like how big of a nerd she was. She had like tapes.
That was
of
the mom.
the thing, and
The mom
stuff.
was
Yeah,
the mom was a hidden sci-fi nerd.
right.
They bring that.
We
up
have a
too.
comment for sure, Golden, about the dodgeball.
Oh, how it was bad times.
Oh, I was like, wait, what? I'm just so used to all my friends being sarcastic assholes. I'm
Well,
assuming it's someone
Walt's
calling me
not
out.
too much older than the kid in the movie,
No.
so I mean he played dodgeball.
Oh, he's like 21. She
Yeah,
was like 16.
We don't know when exactly
All right.
dodgeball became.
I won't die on that
He
hill.
didn't-
I will take the L in saying
They-
that I
they-
guess
it-
I
they have, like-
guess I am an old
They're-
man,
they
out of
made-
touch old man on
For
that.
New York, they came up with like a Dodge. I did play dodgeball. He's also a liar, a known liar. Just kidding. But they came up with like an alternative to what we knew as dodgeball.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Remember, there was like a thing about it right after we got out of high school that
Probably.
they weren't playing it in school anymore.
I mean, when I got out of high
Oh,
school,
woke culture got him. I'm just kidding.
when I got
I
out of high
agree
school,
with
it was
this,
a,
by the
it
way.
was a
I
stone
don't wanna
tablet
say.
that said,
And she's in California, so I would imagine they're even crazier than New York was about dodgeball.
Yeah, back in Golden days, they burned witches.
it's called Dodge Rock.
Yeah,
They actually just threw rocks.
Golden
at
was
each
there
other.
for the first one. This is a-
He's a witch. It's what
Witch?
happened to his first wife.
Oh, you
Just
think
kidding.
you're gonna?
Well, maybe she should have had dinner ready when I got home.
You're gonna have dinner ready. You think you're leaving me?
Which divorce would have been so much easier back then.
Wow.
Lost
I mean it.
Nah.
that one.
I mean it was easier to do a lot of stuff.
We probably gained 5.
Oh, I did though. I did because like anytime you're doing a time travel movie, you always have so many of them like spend way too much time on. No, I got to convince them that I'm from the future, and
Right.
she's just like, look, I have a smartphone, and then of course it also that led into it's dying.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Good.
didn't bring a charger with me.
Yeah, right. Good plot point because none of the charger things would exist, obviously.
Yeah, but you could build a charger for it if you took your phone apart.
I mean, the mom would
A
have to, but she was
16-year-old
kind of busy
girl.
making a time machine. I thought that kind of
No, no,
takes
that's
They
it.
knew how to charge batteries. Like
She had to
somebody
make
there
a-
would know how
she
to
had
do
make
that.
a time machine, and she didn't even know what made it work other than the extra metal. Which, by the way, I liked it. That was such
Yeah,
a simple answer. She's like, "Oh, there's a knife in there. It must have been the extra metal connectivity did it." It's like, "Oh, really? That's okay."
Maybe if you
Um,
found like fucking Steve Wiebe or the fucking guy that helped build the Mac, you'd be able to maybe develop a charger for that. But I don't. Maybe. Anyways, I'm not.
We
all
have-
she had to
again,
do
we
was
have
all she
another
had to do
comment
was
here.
Google it with her phone.
We'll take a little break from discussing the film for a second here.
Sure.
I honestly have been watching I think he means Nightmare. I honestly have been watching Nightmare on Elm Street.
Midnight on Elm Street.
Is that different? Okay. Well, I didn't know if there was like a show or
You're
something.
Good. You're good.
I love the third one and the Friday the 13th films, but the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street was not that good. It's like nobody could replace him as Freddy, even though it was 7 minutes in total on the screen. It's like Iron Man. I can't see nobody else playing Iron Man. All right, you're drunk, sir. No, I was kidding. That's
So-
a fair comment. I think
yeah.
I think that's kind of like the vein, hitting the vein of
Why?
pop horror culture.
Yeah, and why like sometimes these remakes just can't work is because they're so tied
A
to
personality.
the personality. Like a guy like Jason is just a dude in a mask. Like you can literally have whoever.
Jason and Michael.
But
you just
Freddy
need
is
to
a
all do
talk.
that.
Yeah, but Freddy's talks and everything, and he has a personality, and he's like, very tied to Robert Englund. However, I think you could remake that movie. You could make it like scary again, but you could if you got like the same, if you tried to strike the same tone as Dream Warriors, I think that would be like the smartest route to go.
Yeah.
Set it in the 80s too. Like I don't know, you don't need to set this stuff modern day. Just like set it in the 80s. Like if they do whenever they do another Friday the 13th movie, I know they're doing that stupid Crystal Lake fucking bullshit. But if they do another movie with Jason, they should just set it in the 80s. Like they're not beholden to any kind of like canon or anything. Just have we just give them the quick little Jason backstory and just have him have a hockey mask and
Yeah, and that's
with
the
a
thing,
machete.
too, like
That's
with
all we need.
with Nightmare on Elm Street, if you're trying to do a remake, you really would have to do the tone of 3, because honestly, do you think that Nightmare on Elm Street would be such a huge success if they kept the same tone as the first one throughout the series?
Probably
I don't
not.
think it would, because I think the reason I love Freddy as my favorite slasher is the fact that he's a smart ass. The quips, the things like that are what
Oh.
make it where I like it. And as much as I love the first one, I wouldn't want a whole series of just that
Are you,
tone. I
you just
want the-
basing that off the 3, or did Freddy like replace the Creeper for you?
I'll kill you.
What, you're a Jeepers Creepers fan?
You know I'm not, you son of a bitch. I mean, I did make a comment on one thing where I was on this group chat and people were talking about horror movies, and someone brought up Jeepers Creepers, and they're like, "Yeah, well, none of them were as scary as the first one." And then I made a comment which was in poor taste, and I said, "Well, actually, he made a even scarier movie if you ask the person who was in that." And it was talking about his movie filming that he did of the kid.
Ugh,
And then
gross.
then that's when I found out there's a lot of people that didn't know that Victor Salva did horrible things, which is scary because
It
they
is.
should know that he has. And they're like, "Well, we got," and it's like, I'll tell you right away, I can separate the
For
artist
someone
from
that
the
hates Jeepers Creepers, they sure know a lot about the background of that movie.
Right, but that movie is like so mid
Like,
that it's not like
exactly.
I'm not like it's not anything I feel worth like
And
defending.
I hated it before. I didn't like it before I found out.
Oh, here we go.
But anyways,
I
was gonna say I
never liked that
I
guy.
can separate the artist from the art
Yeah.
to a certain point. There's a line.
If you're gonna make that,
And
He was a big
Pedophilia-
Powder fan, though. He'll go to
pedophilia is a line.
the bat
I
for
did love
Powder.
Powder.
Golden. If
Oh,
you,
really?
I really did.
If you're gonna make that argument, you need to change your license plate.
That movie
It
is
still says beating you.
that movie is insanely creepy, knowing the background of that guy.
Yeah. Oh, it is. But again, that was one that I enjoyed and I liked before I found out his background. I'm like,
Right,
no,
right,
not
right.
Powder.
Mr. Sir, you have no idea how scared I am of Freddy and Jason still to this day. It terrifies me and I have trouble sleeping at night. That's from Walter.
Oh, okay. I guess he was a little closer to the age of the girl in the
Yeah.
movie. Like
Should we just show up outside
he's
his
like
window with masks?
11.
Yeah.
Like I think
What the other way.
Because this message doesn't even say that.
even with my new glasses, I can't read the messages from here, so I pretty much have to rely on what Anthony says they say.
That's not what I said.
All right. Anyways, let's get back to the movie. So, what were some of your favorite parts of the movie, Golden?
I mean, I like the fact that she basically thought that she would instantly be welcome in to the friend group.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
no-
yeah,
And they were like, nope.
yeah. Because she's so weird.
When the football player just like picked her up and like threw her outside.
Yeah, at the party.
Fucking
that was
jazzed
funny.
her. DJ Jazzy Jeff. Chucked her outside. Like,
One thing that I didn't like about the movie, I thought the kills were kind of lame. They were just like they were stabbing kills, and they were all like nothing.
Yeah, I wouldn't say nothing. I would disagree. But there wasn't for.
That's why I kind of
being a
compared it more to
slasher.
being like Halloween, because the kills in Halloween are more just like
Yeah, it's tough when you make a comedy horror slasher because I feel like that's expected. That is like a trope that I feel. Correct me if I'm wrong with your guys' opinions, but if I'm watching a slasher comedy, I want to see like Stitches kills, stuff like that. You know, like it's
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you go
yeah,
into it
something a
expecting.
little
Stitches
funny.
did it right. Stitches is still one of my favorite horror
For sure.
comedies, 'cause-
Terrifier 2.
Stop. Oh.
It's a horror comedy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Maybe like black humor, but I
It
mean,
is black humor.
like slapstick kind of goofy humor, you know,
Right.
not
I
meant to
mean,
be taken like
I thought at least
Darkly
the kills
serious.
looked good up until the end. Then it got
Art's kills are pretty. He does it in a funny way.
but like I'm talking about movies that have like this kind of tone or
I gotcha.
something.
No. I understand.
That- Like Terrifier is a whole different beast, I feel like.
Yeah. You're right. You're
That's
right.
that's like American Werewolf in London type humor, you know, like just real dark and bleak.
Yes.
American Werewolf in Lundgren.
What I say?
Dolphin.
Lundgren.
No, you said it right. I was
American Werewolf and Dolph Lundgren.
I saw a meme. of that.
The guy just turns. He's turning into Dolph Lundgren instead of the werewolf.
That'd
It's
be
the
amazing.
same like body
Oh
horror
my
and
God,
everything.
I wonder.
Mr. Sir, this
what's-
question's for you. How did you guys like the new Saw movie? I haven't seen it yet.
I loved it.
I haven't seen it.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was honestly, out of all the Saw sequels, it's the best one. It's I obviously there's no beating the original. James Wan is the
There's no beating you.
Stop.
Uh,
Even I gotta say stop. Now that they're being directed at me, we got.
Oh, that's what we call the line.
I can dish it out, but I cannot take it, sir.
I did like the meme that I saw.
No, but I like this new Saw movie. I think it just came out on digital, so you can, or it's coming out this month on digital. So check that out. We'll probably be doing an episode on it.
Oh, for sure.
I did like the meme that I saw that showed Corbin, and it said, his name's Corbin, right? Jigsaw.
It's
Yeah,
it's
the actor.
John Kramer.
Is that his name?
John Kramer is
Oh, yeah, I mean the
Jigsaw
actor.
Killer.
But the actor, it showed the actor and it said,
Right, right.
imagine
I don't remember his
auditioning
name.
for a role where you just lay on the floor for 2 hours and end up becoming an horror icon. And I was like, I thought about it. I'm
He
like,
was
oh my
really
God, that's true.
dedicated because he was there for like 12 of the days of the shoot.
You're like, we could just put in a mannequin. No, I got this. I
No,
could-
he
Yeah.
legitimately like that behind the scenes and stuff. He was like he wanted to be there for that because they were like, "You want to do a body
He-
double?" He's like, "No, I want to."
He probably had
That
kids.
that
and he was
Saw
like, this is the
Blu-ray
only
has
time I can
great
get a nap.
special features on it.
No, the Blu-ray. I had the original DVD and and I know I've said this 1,000 times, but it bears repeating. The Saw commentary on the original Saw DVD is one of the funniest commentary tracks ever. It's James Wan and Lee Winnell, Mystery Science Theater 3000 Saw the whole time, and just like making fun of like how janky it is, and some of their choices. Lee Winnell's making fun of his bad American accent. They have a re-release, but the commentary is different. It's still funny, but it's different, and it's Lee Winnell, James Wan, and Carrie Yules, who is also they're all making fun of the movie.
Oh, Carrie Yules.
Yes.
Which we
Anyways,
get to see
let's-
him next weekend.
Oh yeah.
I'm not
Well,
gonna pay
I
to
will.
see him.
Yeah, I will.
I'll see him across the room.
Yeah, I'll be seeing him sitting there
I'll have a very meaningful
with an empty
eye
table.
contact
I'm
with.
sorry, I don't. It was me.
Tyler.
It was mean. It's very mean, but like you said, you can dish it out.
Right. There's lots of mean stuff he could say about me, so
I don't know.
I would accept.
You're close to perfect.
Anyways, let's get some final thoughts on Totally Killer.
Well, I know we're running out of time here, but
Sure.
because we have another episode after this, but I feel like there's still like some big moments we missed that
Yes.
yeah,
What was
with the reveal, definitely if you haven't watched this and you
Oh
plan
yeah,
to,
yeah.
stop right now because we're talking about the killer reveal for Totally Killer.
Turns out pot was weaker.
Yeah. Well,
That was a
no,
funny-
but it's
that
so
was-
true though.
Yeah. That was
Yeah,
I
a
was
that
gonna
was a
refer to
very
Mr.
funny.
Shirt on that one and be like,
That
so
was
is
a very funny like one of the differences between now and then was she ate like 5 pot brownies and didn't feel high at all.
And the
And
funny thing was-
everybody else is like
Yeah.
totally high.
When
Yeah.
she was eating all the brownies, I'm like looking there. I'm like watching with my wife, and I go, "Aren't those pot brownies? Like she's just destroying them. She's gonna be out and all this stuff." Then they referred to it where she's like,
Oh, this is like the shittiest weed
where
ever.
she's like, "Oh my god, this is all sticks and stems."
I remember because I used to drive my dad to the bar a lot and stuff when I was younger, and so I was like a teenager or whatever. And
It's like I was 5.
the guys there, the girls, whoever, would be talking about how strong pot was now compared to when they were kids.
Yeah.
In the 70s when they used to like divide it up on a record.
Well, she's like, there's stems and seeds in there.
She's like, this is all stems and seeds. What the? And everybody on
That's
the
how you
hot
know
tub
it's
is
weed.
shot. They're just like,
So how they when they were talking about they referenced Scream, and what they said was they set it up like, oh, there were 2 killers in Scream, and she's like, oh yeah, you haven't seen Scream because it doesn't exist yet.
But really, it's only like 5 years away,
Right? Yeah.
9 years away.
yeah, they should.
But then so the reveal 1 happens in 1987, and it's revealed that the nerd character
nerd.
is
Who's also the teacher?
yes,
Yes, in the,
The
future,
principal?
the teacher.
principal. Yes, he ends up being the principal modern day.
He was getting the he was doing the killings because they mean girled his girlfriend and she died.
Yeah, because
Yes, yeah, and there was another plot point that's sprinkled throughout is how her mom was indirectly
What
responsible
was the girl's
for
name?
the
Fat
death.
something, right?
Yes,
Like,
it was.
Amy or something. Yeah.
Like it wasn't even an inventive.
Yeah,
No, it was
it's
a very
size.
terrible.
Like, oh, this girl's fat. We should call her like Fat Jenny.
I mean, that's just how many friends are like Fat John or Fat Eric. Like you have a bunch of friends like that,
We
right?
got Big Pussy and all those guys.
Creeper.
Sal. Tone.
So I
Follow.
mean, it was kind of expected there was going to be two killers. At first, I was
Yes.
wondering if it was going to be the killer coming back from the future because they're making it seem like that's going to happen,
Right.
And because it could, based on their
which
own
does
rules.
happen.
And based on their own rules,
It's
even if
just-
they killed the killer in the past, the one that was
You
in the
know,
present with them would still be around because
yeah, because it
time is
time's
like
a river and you're paddling uphill in a canoe. I get it. I don't.
hurtful.
No, you're right.
Shit Creek.
It is a river.
But
Okay, but so the killer does come back.
I like how she's like, he's the one from the future. I know because I messed up his mask. There's like a little thing out of the mask that she just pulled out on that.
So the plot is going. Most of the movie takes place in '87, but it does occasionally cut back to the present day with her friend working on the time machine and trying to get it to work again, while also, a different time machine that she made.
And
Well, looking at clues. that
Until
are
the
being left
mom-
by
until
her.
the daughter is attacked in the future, I thought the mom was going to be the second killer or have been the killer in the past because she's gone every time that stuff is going on. And they
Yeah,
don't
there
point
was
it out at
definitely
all.
it was definitely a red herring.
I don't even think it was supposed to be red herring. I just think they didn't have anything to do for the character there. You know?
You know what? That's also probably fair. This movie does have a ton of characters in it too.
Yeah.
Well, it's the creepy podcast guy, who had a weird fascination with the case the whole time. Turns out he is the copycat, and he goes back in time. He uses the time machine and goes back in time, and that ends up with a show off with the Gravitron, which was a really cool. I thought that set piece was awesome. The movie is worth watching just for that. I thought that set, the show off between her and the older guy was cool.
They should have just put it in a race car. That was an unfair tease. That would have been sick. Instead of a phone booth. Like how in the
Yeah,
future
yeah.
they're trying to build the second time machine with the race car. Because there has to be an object that exists in the past. Or that's also exists in the past. That didn't make any sense, but
I mean, this
It was
movie.
just their way of saying, if we're gonna make a time machine, might as well make it something cool.
There's been a whole string of these kind of mashup horror comedies.
they're getting people ready for time travel.
Well, there's I'm talking like Freaky.
Oh, Blumhouse doing that.
Yeah, Freaky, Happy Death Day. There's the It's a Wonderful Knife by I think the Freaky guys
Winnie
are
the Pooh,
doing
Blood and
that.
Honey,
Ugh.
getting shown to
Gross.
fourth graders.
Tucker and Dale.
Tucker and Dale's amazing.
It's not the same thing at all. It's
Um,
not even.
should we talk about the mistake in the movie?
All right,
All
go
right,
on.
here we
Let's
go.
go.
Been waiting for this.
I know.
So, at the end of the movie, the mother gives a notebook to the main girl.
Thought you were doing one of these.
Oh no,
Yeah, he's like, look there.
3 minutes.
Is she hands a notebook to the main girl and she's like, hey, these are all the things that are different, so that you understand what your life is, because this will obviously be different for you because you did the time travel. And that they kind of show that during the credits so that you can read along and see all the things like, hey, she has a brother now because she couldn't stop her mom and dad from banging.
Right.
Because she made the mistake of saying, oh, you guys get together. And she's like, what? I'm going to fuck him right now. Basically. And I it's not even me making fun of it. That's actually
Literally what happens. In
but anyway, so as you're going through, then it shows the one thing is about, and I was kind of wondering, I'm like, when is the killer going to show up? Because, there would still be the killer. So they had to do something to show why he wasn't. But in the notebook was the mother had written,
The movie.
not the notebook, the movie. No, what do you want? I don't know. Okay. Anyways. So she talked about the podcast guy and how he became a Buddhist monk or whatever because he saw his dad get killed on live television.
right.
And they're like,
by himself,
by
he
himself,
go
yeah.
went back in time and killed his.
and they
Stabs
go,
him in the head.
she goes, but I've been keeping tabs on him just in case. But the mother would have never known that the podcast guy was the killer because he wasn't unmasked until it was just the final girl and him in the Gravitron. So nobody other than her would know who that killer
Oh,
was.
we
He
got
didn't
we
get
got,
kicked out, so maybe his DNA ended up
we
somewhere.
got cinema sins.
First of all, they already talked about DNA in the 80s. If you
yeah, that
remember,
was
when
the
she's
plot
like,
point
I've
in
got
it.
Yeah,
his,
but the
I've
time
got his
machine was
DNA on
already
the
going.
thing, and he's like, DNA.
The time machine was already going, so maybe it was the 2000s when it came out and splattered.
You know I'm right. I'm just saying she would have had no way to know. But all in all, with it being a time travel
Which is
movie,
kind of false.
they
Like,
did a really good
they
job.
used DNA shit in the 80s.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they
the movie
did.
said they didn't. I believe it. All in all, though, with that being the only thing that I found, and it was a time travel movie. I mean, good job on that, because it's so easy to
I
fuck
can't
up.
believe they
with a
didn't know
time travel
blood
movie.
types in the 80s.
They didn't. They didn't know anything in the 80s.
All right, so
Knew how to
we
do
gotta
that.
wrap it
Microscopes.
up.
Your thing.
Any final thoughts on Totally Killer?
If you're looking for a good slasher comedy, check out something else. No, it's decent.
Oh yeah,
It's
it's
fun.
fun. It's fun. If you're a horror dork like we are, you'll find stuff to like about it. And even if you're a novice horror person, you'll probably get even more out of it.
Yeah.
Honestly, but I liked it a lot. I thought it was fun. Yeah, it gets a solid recommend from me.
Yeah,
We got a comment, but actually it'll tie more into our next show coming right up after this.
Okay.
So if you want to ask that question again, Walter, we'll answer that on the next show.
All right. So from all of us here at Horror Dork on the
Yeah, it gets a recommend from Golden.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's what we were looking at. I was like,
Yeah,
why is
yeah.
he looking at me? Am I supposed to close this out? Yeah, I definitely recommend it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, close us out.
I enjoyed it, and then I'll close it out. So from all of us here at Horror Dork on the couch, to all of you on your couches or toilets or wherever you're sitting and watching it, I'm guessing it's most of them on the toilet. They're like, I'm going to poop and watch these guys. Stay tuned for the next
Get your
episode.
bowels moving.
We're going to talk about some cool stuff, some fun stuff.
We're gonna talk about
I'm
Halloween.
going to hoard my stuff. And I'm Golden.
I'm Mr. Sir.
And I'm Anthony. I don't know why I said it like that.
Stay fresh cheese bags. Free frame.
Come on. Great podcast,
Can't
guys.
keep this
Thanks,
free
Walt.
frame forever.
Thanks, motherfucker.